This is the morning weather briefing. This is for Thursday, the 10th of August. I'm James Spann, and once again, we have active thunderstorms in progress over parts of the state as this day begins. So let's go right to the radar. And again, we are live here at the insane hour of 5:13 a.m. And you can see multiple bands of thunderstorms across the northern half of the state. We have that one band that's over the Tennessee Valley. Heavier rain running from near Hamilton back up toward Moulton, Huntsville, and Scottsboro. And the second band to the south on the outflow of those storms. And those are just north of Tuscaloosa, up toward the northern suburbs of Birmingham and downtown Birmingham, then back over toward Anniston and Gadsden. And these are noisy. And for a noisy storm at 5:13 a.m., that's pretty obnoxious. And, of course, they're producing heavy rain and, again, a lot of lightning. That's what summer storms do. But they're all under severe limits. And, again, I remind everybody there's a very specific definition for a storm to be severe. Only two things can make a storm severe, and that's it. The severe criteria has nothing to do with loud thunder, with lightning frequency, with heavy rain. It has to do exclusively with large hail and damaging winds. To be considered severe, a storm must have 58-mile-per-hour winds or greater, or hail 1 inch in diameter or larger. And everything you see here doesn't have that. Even though it's raining heavily and it's noisy and there's a lot of lightning and thunder, they're under severe limits, and they've been pretty behaved throughout the night during the morning hours. And again, I know late last night there was a tornado watch for areas north and west of Alabama, but there's just never a tornado threat here. The wind profiles just don't support that. I know there's a lot of odd fear, and I don't know where people are hearing this. But anyway, there is no need to fear this stuff. But they could be strong this morning, and as the air heats up, they could be a little stronger later this morning. And more about what's to come here in a second. But here's the big picture. And again, it was a very anomalous type day yesterday because typically in August, the stronger winds aloft are far north of here. They're pretty far south for August, and we're getting dynamic support. The winds aloft are relatively strong, which is unusual for August. Oftentimes you go up 10, 15,000 feet, the winds are light and variable. But we've got fairly strong westerly winds aloft, and within those westerly winds aloft, we have short waves, rising air motion, providing support for these storms. That's the big picture. That's the composite showing those bands of storms across the deep south. Peak of temperatures, we've got 60s for some spots in North Alabama. Most locations are in the 70s. And again, Mobile has just been so nasty with the heat. It's balmy, sticky, oppressive. It's 83 at Mobile right before 5 o'clock this morning. And they've seen highs in the mid to upper 90s and those really high heat indices. And again, we have excessive heat warnings for Mobile and Baldwin counties in the Florida Panhandle for that very reason today. And those heat warnings extend back into parts of Texas. So this is the severe weather outlook today. We have a risk of severe storms out across the nation's heartland. And here there is a level 1 out of level 5 marginal risk of severe storms for about the northern two-thirds of the state. Down to near Linden and Fort Deposit and Phoenix City. And again, the threat today would come from some small hail and strong gusty winds. And again, there's just not a tornado threat. This is tomorrow. And again, we've got a risk to the north coming into the Great Lakes. And down here, a marginal risk, level 1 out of 5, south of the line from near Sulligent to Blunt Springs to Gadsden. And again, there could be a few storms with small hail and strong gusty winds. Not raining everywhere and not raining all day, but where the storms form, they could be fairly strong. And then on day 3, which is Saturday, we have a risk of severe storms north of Alabama from the Ohio Valley up into parts of the northeast United States. Here's the rain for the next 7 days. On an average basis, rain amounts between 1/2 and 2 inches for the state. And we do think the showers and storms become more isolated by the weekend, and we might even get into some drier air for a couple of days next week on Tuesday and Wednesday. Models are hinting at that. And once again, that's amazing for mid-August. There's just nothing across the Atlantic basin. Wow. No tropical trouble anytime soon. At some point, it's got to wake up. Well, it doesn't have to, but it should wake up. Maybe once we get into September. and we get a different MJO phase. But let's go to modeling. Model fans, here's the GFS. This is the 06C run, valid today at 4. And again, the heat ridge is on the Gulf Coast. The westerlies are in place, the southern edge of the westerlies here. And again, we'll see a number of storms around. Let's go to the high-res herd. This is valid this morning at 15Z. This is 10 o'clock. And I really think the better chance of rain today for the northern half of the state this morning. And then scattered storms form down in South Alabama later in the day. So if you're in Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, Anniston, Gadsden, your best chance of rain this morning. South Alabama, better chance of storms this afternoon. Again, we stress not raining everywhere today, but where the storms form, they might produce some small hail and strong gusty winds. And the same thing tomorrow. And again, these synoptic maps aren't that useful in summer. Partly sunny, scattered storms, hot, muggy, low to mid-90s. Now, for the weekend, you don't see any green here. This is Saturday and this is Sunday. I do think the storm should be more isolated. The sky partially sunny with highs up in the mid-90s. It'll be a hot, muggy weekend. And then Monday, there's evidence of a cold front. And let me rephrase that, a surface front. We never use the word cold front in August. They'll be pushing in here. The surface low is northeast of Detroit with the front trailing that. And that might bring a little increase in the number of showers and storms. And then on Tuesday, we just might get into drier air. And Wednesday of next week. And if this happens, and that's a big if, the humidity would come down a bit and nights would be a bit cooler with lows getting in the 60s. Let's go out to a week from today, Thursday the 17th. We got a pretty good vortex north of us, north of the Great Lakes. A northwest flow aloft, and moisture tries to come back with the return of a few scattered showers and thunderstorms. Let's go out 10 days. This is Saturday, August the 19th. The ridge building here across the Deep South. And if that's right, it'll be kind of hot and kind of muggy and maybe a few spotty storms about. Rain for Birmingham off the European Ensemble. The mean, about 1.5 inches between now and the 25th of August. Your number could vary. And the same thing with these numbers. Your number could vary. These are temperatures for Birmingham coming off the NBM, National Blend of Models. And again today, the northern half of the state will stay below 90 because of clouds and showers and storms. Low 90s tomorrow, then mid-90s for the weekend and Monday, and then low 90s for the rest of next week. And notice those lows in the upper 60s Wednesday and Thursday morning of next week. That's for the potential for some drier air dropping in here. And the latest 8 to 14-day guidance, this is for August 17th through the 23rd. The ridge and temperatures would likely be a little above average if this works out. All right, those storms were awfully impressive yesterday. Check this out. Whoa, this is Logan Martin Lake. Look at the white caps. That's the thunderstorm complex coming in there late in the day. And goodness, those, it was not an August kind of day. We had some pretty good dynamic support, and if you looked at the radar, you saw these were supercells. And there was rotation aloft, not at the surface. There was not the sufficient storm relative felicity for tornadoes at the surface. We had no tornadoes. In fact, very little wind damage across the state with these things. The big issue involved hail and lightning, obviously. But a number of severe thunderstorm warnings were issued. Had a lot of people say, hey, man, there's a tornado on radar and you're not warning us. Well, no, there was never a tornado on radar. People see rotation. They don't really understand how radar works and what they're looking at. But you've got to understand the condition of the atmosphere before you start issuing warnings. This was last night, and the night lightning display was pretty amazing. That's Interstate 65. But if you stepped outside, really anywhere in north or central or maybe even South Alabama, you saw that, just the strobe-like thing, nonstop lightning. And again, on summer nights, that's relatively common. A lot of people said, I've never seen this much lightning in my life, and I'm 100 years old or something. I'm 100 years old, and I've seen this many times on a summer night. But certainly they were very, very efficient lightning producers last night. And we all know there is no such thing as what? Heat lightning. And there's certainly no such thing as heat lightening. And the deal is these storms can be 50, 60,000 feet tall. And you can see the lightning from up to 80, 90 miles away. and you're so far away you can't hear the thunder. And the old wives' tale is that lightning just comes out of clear air with no storms. That's not true. Every lightning bolt you see in Alabama, it's produced by a thunderstorm. It might be, though, 60, 70, 80 miles away. And this is some of the hail that came down from these storms. They were hailers in many cases. And this was taken in Blount County. That first storm that dropped the hail was around Arkadelphia, then back over toward Hayden and Smoke Rise. And some fairly unique views of the hailstones that came down across the state yesterday. But again, it was not your typical August day. No doubt about that. And it's not your typical August morning. This time of the year, if you're new here, we usually have random pop-up storms during the heat of the day, afternoon and evening. They sit there, they don't move much, and they can be really strong, and then they rain themselves out. But we have organized storms because, again, we're on the southern edge of the mid-latitude westerly. So, again, we're live here at 5:24 this morning. And, again, you've got this heavier rain falling right in through here. A lot of thunder and lightning, but nothing severe. Heaviest rain falling in parts of northern Lamar, Marion, Winston, Lawrence, Morgan counties up toward Huntsville. That's the original band. And then the new showers and storms that have formed are down here. And again, from just north of downtown Tuscaloosa, Northport, right through Birmingham, then back over toward Anniston and Gadsden. It's kind of a rude wake-up call. But again, we stress that these things are below severe limits. And, some people say, well, you didn't warn us about these storms. There's no warning. Well, there's no need for a warning. They're not severe. And if we warned for every summer storm, it'd just be warning, 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 and nobody would pay attention. And again, models did a pretty good job with this. They struggled with summer convection, but the short-term models had a pretty good grasp on this with the storms late yesterday and last night, and this second round early this morning. And again, we'll see that continuing for off and on for several hours this morning. But again, by afternoon, we think the better chance of the thunderstorm shifting down into South Alabama. And again, we stress it will not rain everywhere today. But where it rains, it'll be at that marginal risk today, level 1 out of 5, which means some of the storms could produce some hail and strong winds. So for those that don't know, I'm on television, do a TV segment in the morning, and I do 24 radio stations across the country and have to write the blog post that goes with these videos. And my buddy John Oldshoe's back. Great to have John back. It's so sad that Taylor Sorello left. Her last day was last week, and we wish her the best, and she was just the greatest. Taylor is so good, but my old buddy John Oldshoe's coming back to help us, and John is back. He's on the air this morning on Good Morning Alabama, and I'll be joining him at 6:15 over on the television side. But anyway, so let's see. I got a book signing Saturday. Don't forget that. It's going to be in Aniana, and we're going to be there from 9 until 12 noon. And we have so much fun at these things. If you've never been, we've got Weathering Life, which is my autobiography. We have All You Can Do Is Pray, the book about April 27, 2011, the generational tornado outbreak. We have a weather book for kids, Benny and Chipper, Prepared Not Scared. And we have all these shirts and hats. Crest Publishers, they put this together, and they're great. But it's going to be at the Barking Bee Coffee Shop. Barking Bee. This is a new coffee shop in Aniana. The grand opening is tomorrow. We'll be there Saturday from 9 to noon on 2nd Avenue West. So come see us. We take a lot of pictures. We have a lot of fun, and it's just great. So Aniana, Saturday morning, Barking Bee Coffee from 9 until noon. And, of course, we invite you to watch us on television this evening, ABC 3340 News at 4, 5, 6, and 10 o'clock. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and God bless.